slippery. So every time we rappelled, everybody was sliding all over the place, and it just became this beautiful like evolution of like obstacles and everything. And it was just like, it was fun, you know?
Yeah, it's what you sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you watch that video.
Yeah,
that's what you think you're getting into.
And that was the best, most hated but best time, because then also we also gotta like compete with other squads and everything that were mixed with other platoons. So it was awesome across the board. So I remember that experience, and I learned a lot from that, you know. One of our guys hit the tripwire. The freaking flare pops up. My boy and myself, we were still exposed. We're just like, fuck. And sure enough, we got lit up. My whole side was covered with sim rounds, which is like a little plastic caps that hit you on the... Oh my God. I'm just sitting on the side like, all right, I'm dead. I'm dead. But it brought the realism to that. Like that one mistake brought that realism back to it. Like, all right, we need to start taking even more training, more serious, and then we get a chance to jump on it, you know?
Yeah.
In Fallujah. It was almost to the end, and we're about to rotate out. And a lot of us are like, we knew that the next rotation we had a choice. We either go to Camp Lejeune, go to 8th Comm, and deploy to Iraq. Or you get to stay back and do another year in Okinawa, Japan. All the guys, pretty much all the ones from my shop, we all decided we're all going to Lejeune.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter where in Lejeune, but we're all going together.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave us that bond that, you know, like no matter where we're gonna work together. I was one of the first ones to get sent out to the unit before all my boys started coming in, because they took like an extra week or so of leave.
Yeah.
And at first, I'm coming in with a bunch of brand new Lance Corporals that were coming out of Comm Schools, going into the same unit. And they thought that when they saw Lance Corporal, they thought that I was their type of Lance Corporal, where I was in the same mind frame.
Yeah, yeah.
And it became this weird thing where I was like,
Senior Lance Corporal.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I don't want to be that guy either, you know?
Yes, Senior Lance Corporal.
And I guess, I don't know, maybe it's the difference between like units, but going from Okinawa, Japan to Camp Lejeune was a weird experience, because I'm used to my corporals being more on point when you're in Okinawa versus the corporals I met when I was in Lejeune were kind of not as sharp as
I'll forever say this, and if I take flack for this from anybody listening, so what? But Okinawa Marines are a different breed because of so many different things. You know, you don't have the freedom to go out into the real world, so you're dealing with, you know, Marine Corps stuff for as long as you're there. And, you know, with all the typhoons and, you know, all the extensive training we do out there, I think that anybody who trains in Okinawa and then comes back to the States is kind of on that same realm. But that's funny that I'm hearing that from a whole different MOS and a whole different side of the island, that, you know, it's similar in nature. Mm-hmm. So you said you did 4.5, 4.6, right?
Yeah.
4.8?
Yeah, 4.6, 4 years and then 6 months.
So at what point did you start thinking about, okay, there's an end to this, and it's coming up pretty soon?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, we went, we got orders to Fallujah, Iraq, and before that we were training in Lejeune. And then my sergeant at the time, from like the one that was coaching me from the beginning, he ended up being in the same unit with me as a staff sergeant. So he now was in charge of me. And even as a Lance Corporal in the beginning, you know, like he knew that I knew my gear. He knew I knew everything. So even as a Lance Corporal, he trusted me more than he did the corporals. Like, nothing against the corporals there. It's just that I guess I just had more knowledge, and he started sending me out with my own team. He would give me radio operators. He would give me the shit bags. And he looked at me, they're like, you know why I'm giving you these guys? I'm all like, no. They're like, because they're just...
Because you hate me?
And at first, yes. They're like, no, because they're just like you. And I'm just like, what do you mean? They're like, been used to being treated like they're worthless. And when in reality, they probably have a lot more to give. You just got to find it. And I'm like, all right. So I took that as a challenge, you know. I took these guys out, taught them everything I knew about the gear, because this was not their MOS. This was my MOS. Because now I was mixed in with radio operators, so it was MUX and radio operators together. And the radio operators didn't know my gear, and the way they saw it, they didn't want to know my gear. Which is fine, understandable, you know, to a point. And so now I started teaching these brand new Lance Corporals. Like, I had the most countryest dudes ever, but goddamn, I wouldn't trade them for a world at this point anymore.
Yeah.
Because when I was out there in the field with them, they were able to get job done in a heartbeat. We were able to our antenna was up faster than any other group, for the simple fact that they were listening, they were fast, and they loved to work.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I taught them everything I could about the gear. So now when they went back, they understood the gear more than their peers. And that kind of set like a form of like competition. Because now that instead of them running around with a radio on their back, half the time they want to run with me and be out there with the gear and set up on a vehicle.
Yeah.
Versus seeing these guys running around trying to like carry this freaking OE everywhere they go. They're like, no, we'll go be with you. We'll be with we'll be with you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
For some reason, everyone just kept calling me Jimmy, which is weird.
It's easier than Guevara.
I think that's what it was. Even my
they can't do the.
My staff sergeant he didn't get in trouble, but he got kind of a little bit chewed out. But he took it as a joke.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Hey Jimmy, come here." They're like, and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" They're like, "What's up, staff sergeant?" They're like, "I need you to go do this and this is," and then the lieutenant next to him, "Don't you mean Lance Corporal Guevara?" "No, that's Jimmy." No, you mean Lance Corporal Guevara? They're like, "No." And then,
yeah. No, that's Jimmy. It's like the perfect nickname. But it's your real name.
Mm-hmm. So it was funny. And anyways, again, I had to set myself apart from the rest of the like Lance Corporal, because I remember this one guy, he knew everything about MUX and everything about the gear. They're like, "Oh, you're a MUX? All right, cool. Do you know this?" I'm like, "Yes." "About this, yeah. How much does it shoot?" And I kept answering every single question. They're like, "All right, let me look at your gear." It was the first week I was there, it was a wall locker inspection. But I already had everything set up because they had teach, like in like Okinawa, you always have to have everything ready, pressed and ready to go. Mm-hmm. You put it in containers. You only use a few of your uniform if you have to, and then and most of the time just have it inspection ready. Yep. You know, so he went through everything. He couldn't find a freaking thing. The only way he ginked me was he flipped my trousers inside out.
Look for IPs,
and he found an IP, and I was like, "Really? That's what you're gonna get me on?" I'm like, I didn't take it personal. I was just like, I know you at this point you're just trying to be a dick, but whatever. And then at the time, my gunny was next to him. He was my gunny in Okinawa too, but he didn't know that. Mm. And then another staff sergeant that was with him during the inspection was my MUX instructor at 29 Palms. Yeah. Both of them are just laughing because they know that I've been there longer than his average Lance Corporal that just arrived from Comm School. And they asked me, "Hey, Guevara, where you coming from?" I looked at them like, "What do you mean, gunny?" They're like, "Are you coming from Comm School from 29 Palms?" I'm like, "No, gunny. I'm coming from Okinawa, Japan." And all he said was, "No wonder."
See, it's a thing, man.
And then even my gunnies were laughing, and like my staff sergeant was just laughing. They're like, "Of course," because he's the one that sent me to Okinawa. Yeah. The other one, the one that received me, so I thought it was hilarious. But and then of course we went to Fallujah, Iraq. That was an interesting experience. Initially, I was only supposed to be there for 6 months. Yeah. Within my first month there, they fat me out to another unit. They called it the Military Transitional Team, which the whole point was to train the Iraqi army. I was supposed to be the Comm Chief and provide them with all the communications available, from data, phone, their single channels, every single thing that had a comm, like, abbreviation to it. It was my responsibility. Mm-hmm. And at this time, I just had barely picked up Corporal right before I deployed over to Iraq. Yeah. So now I'm like, wait, what? I'm all like, in my head, I'm used to having a sergeant or a staff sergeant being in charge of all this. And so for me to be like the Comm Chief of my own little like tent was so new to me. I was like, wait, what? And they're like, I'm sending you out with a generator tech. I'm all like, wait, what? And one other muckster, and that's it. So I'm like, wait a minute. That's 8-hour shift for each one of us. And one of them is a freaking generator tech. He has no idea how to do comms. They're like, well, Guevara, that's going to be on you then. I'm just like, and I look at him, I don't know anything about data. I don't know anything about IP addresses or anything.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to have to call in and figure something out. And so everything that kept going through my head, like I was trying to figure out like the logistics behind this. They had no plan, no nothing. They were just sending me out with a bunch of gear and no actual plan. So I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, they need this because they're training the Iraqi army. And I'm just like this and that, whoop-de-whoop. All right. I'm like, fine. I'll do the shot. I'll send the shot out. I'll do everything I need to do. And I get out there it takes me about like half a day to set everything up with the generator tech. And this guy's all like, he's a PFC. He has no fucking clue. Like he knows his gear, but when it comes to comm, he's looking at me like I'm the crazy one.
Yeah,
like I'm talking gibberish. And so that was my job, and I also had to provide like comm to the whole camp because there was another section that was part of the army, and I used to provide them with phones and internet as well. And I'm just like, wait, what? I'm all like, that's unheard of. This is the first time I ever had to work with another branch and everything. So it was just, I made the best of it and I figured things out and I was able to, again, adapt to my situation, adapt to my environment. And then I realized that these guys were looking to me to make sure that we get everything done. You know, I'm having a colonel breathing down my neck. I have a major breathing down my neck. I have the sergeant major that's breathing down my neck and all these other gunnies that are trained in like special operations. And I'm just like, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
Like,
he just mouthed, "What the fuck?"
You know, so for me, it was a little intimidating, but I'm like, you know what? I'll do my thing. And within that process, I also got to help train the Iraqi army because, hey, they're like, well, we need these guys. We need drivers. We need a gunner, and we're taking these guys out to go shoot their AKs, and we have to teach them too. I'm just like, wait, what? Like, not ever part of my job description in my whole life. And I'm just like, but of course, I'm not going to tell this colonel we don't do windows. Yeah. So we're doing this and trying to understand. So I'm like, all of us are like, for a good minute, we're just running around paranoid because there was only like 10 people in this tent because we also had our interpreters in there too. We had like 3 interpreters. And then the whole compound was 200 Iraqi army personnel at any given time. And we had a sergeant major from the Iraqi army that used to be part of the Saddam regime as well, one of their go-to guys. And I learned a lot from him because he also spoke really good English, so he had a lot of knowledge. Yeah. I remember one time we were smoking on the smoke pit. I asked him that, why don't you carry an AK? They're like, everyone else carried, like, why don't you carry an AK? They're like, Jundi, not afraid of AK. Firearm. I'm like, why? And he explained to me that that's how they used to like assassinate anybody that was insubordinate. And makes sense. Yeah. They're like, that's why they're not afraid of the M16, but they're afraid of a pistol. Yeah. Because it's like an authority thing. Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh,
that makes sense.
Learned a lot from, like I said, So before the next rotation came in, my staff sergeant comes up to me. He's all like, "Hey, Jimmy, we have good news and bad news." I'm all like, "Okay, give me the good news." Well, mostly everyone's going home. I heard mostly. What do you mean mostly? Well, not that many. The Marine Corps didn't train enough guys or something to where we have
you can go home.
Like your MO is because a couple of your guys, half of your team could go home. Yeah, the other half can't. Between all of you, need to choose 4 guys that need to stay back. Yeah. And I remember my buddy Boogie's out there with me as well. Again, you know, we had this conversation and I told him, like, Boogie, you need to go home, man. They're like, you have a kid. And he looks at me and he's like, man, you know, you're not going home. So why even fronting? You know, they're like, I'm not going here because I got nothing to go home to at this point. You know, I'm all like, I'm single. I'm living the Marine Corps life right now, which I'm enjoying out here, and I'm learning so much. Why would I go home? They're like, well, guess what? Unless you go home, I ain't going home either. Yeah. So we both decided to stay together. Yeah. And of course, we stayed. The other buddy stayed as well, Carter, and then this other guy stayed behind. So it was 4 of us that stayed behind. And then this whole new platoon came in, and they were just like a whole mess because there was a mixture of reserve units and a mixture of active duty units. The active duty units they were okay. I'm not gonna say they're bad. The reserve units, they had no idea how to use the gear because I don't think they've ever really used it in the field. So this is their first experience, really. Yeah. And their mindset is completely different. Yeah. It's so much different. Yeah. And then that's where the incident happened, I guess, with where one of our guys turned on us.